then the fiscal framework as it was what was the fiscal framework.
There was no intention to even look at those recommendations.
Hello?
The Speaker was alerted. The committee secretary was alerted of the problems the same day. The EFF sent a letter to the Speaker the same day, the DA the next day, to say, look, we've got problems with this report, and it was pushed through to Parliament. There was no intention to engage with the 30 days. So at least on the face of it appears that ActionSA naively thought that its strict condition was going to get even the most basic time of day. It was never anybody's intention. The purpose, which was simply to force it through. And if you look at the record, the chairperson of when Mr. Molefe says it's 7:47, what are we adopting? Because the report has changed so many times and we haven't seen the report. The chair says, let's proceed. And he wants an adoption. Then when the letters, the same day when the political parties contact the secretary of the committees and say this doesn't reflect what we discussed, the letters are then sent to the Speaker. It's literally pushed through. And what's quite extraordinary is that it didn't have to be. You could have, if the process, the Speaker, your client, could have slowed the whole process down and said, let's make sure we're all on board. We've got a report. This is an issue of national importance to every single person in the country. Let's make sure we're not seen as pushing this through with undue haste and that we've dealt with all of the concerns that have been raised. But that was not the approach taken. In fact, it was the contrary approach. And one has to ask why. Why is there such a reluctance to engage either with the strict condition or to have the minister consider other options? Why is this no taxation without representation consideration just given short shrift?
Melanie, I can't say anything beyond the fact that the ActionSA proposal, as it was sent to Parliament, is what was incorporated into the report. If the court is to find ultimately the report read as a whole doesn't meet the clear statement envisaged by 8.4 of the Money Bills Act, then I have to accept that that's the end of it in relation to those reports.
I think my sister raised an important issue also, that if not all members are on board, meaning not everyone understands what is being voted on at that point, and then it simply is adopted, does that not taint the process?
So, Madam, that's a particularly difficult issue in relation to politics. And I say that cautiously because if the court is to listen to that recording, it's clearly a large part of it is around political posturing overall. And it does raise the question as to what is the appropriate threshold, the appropriate point at which a chairperson can say, I've formulated the correct question, I've asked it, I've put it to the vote. The committee has spoken, and I'm carrying that. And I would submit, and certainly
that is one way of looking at it. There's also another way. In particular, if you have regard to all the questions that have been asked by the MKP, Mr. Brian Molefe, Mr. Burke, then it's Mr. Van Rooyen of the MKP again, then Mr. Molefe again. The timestamp here that I've got in the record is 0947, paragraph 114.12. Mr. Molefe said that Mr. Beasley had stated as part of his motion that ActionSA did not support VAT and asked whether that was part of what we have just adopted. So there was massive confusion. But why did the chair, as my learned sister has indicated, so adamant and eager to adopt this? For what possible reason?
Justices, I can't take it beyond referring the court to what I've said already.